Hey y'all, uh, this is a video I've been wanting to put together for a while. I've been documenting some stuff, and one thing, as we watch these images go by, I never believed any of this was real, but I wanted to approach this one a little bit different. I've seen every video, every article, and the pictures, and all of that. This is all from Apollo 11 um, moon landing, so there's some things that I want to go over that I think are a different approach from a lot of the stuff I've seen, um, and how people have approached this in the past, and some things I want to point out. So this is a shot of the limb as it's disconnected from the command module, and it's going down to the lunar surface. And these images all come from NASA, and here's Buzz. I believe it's Buzz is standing by the limb, and just pay attention to the sizes of things. Um, you see Buzz; he looks as big as a leg, and there he is standing in the foot of the lunar lander, and his feet don't even fit inside of it when he's coming off the ladder, and he's all lit up, and here he is with the foot of the lunar lander, and look at how big the foot of the lunar lander looks in comparison to Buzz. Also, look at the surface of the moon. We'll get to that again later. Here's one of them climbing back into the door that they can't even really fit in and out of. So let's really get into the heart of this, and the way I want to approach it. And this is all from NASA. And here you can go watch your YouTube video of Neil Armstrong coming out of the limb for the first time. And look at the angle of the camera and where it's from. And so we're looking at Neil's face and the ladder from the side. Here's Buzz coming down. Now he's all lit up. Everything's all in color. But notice, where would the camera be that was just filming Neil when he was coming out of the lunar lander? Just some interesting stuff in the photos. Here you can see that they landed at 4:18 p.m. Eastern Time. They didn't get out of the lander until 10:56 Eastern Time, which is 6 hours and 38 minutes that they set in the limb that was barely big enough for them to fit in. Now, these times are going to be important because we're going to get into the moon phases, where the moon is at this time and all that kind of stuff. So, but 6 hours is a long time to sit in a place where you can barely fit. Now, this is the moon phase for July the 20th, 1969. It is a waxing crescent, 30% illumination. And now, this is fairly important for the point I want to make here. So, this year, July the 28th, we had a waxing crescent, 29% illumination. Now, that's real close, and I went to a couple different sources on the 1969 Apollo 11 moon landing. Here's another one that shows a 30% illumination, waxing crescent. So we're about 1% different in illumination. And I'm going to point out some things in the lunar surface that we need to look at. And I've told y'all before, I don't have cable, I don't have internet. All that's on purpose. I do have internet access. I do all this with my phone. So this is NASA's lunar map, and I've cropped it so we can see the Apollo 11 landing. I'm going to do my best to point out some areas with what I have to work with on my phone that are important to look at. This first one, this is the Apollo 11 lit up there, and that is in the Sea of Tranquility. Now this area, it's a crater. It's not named. I can't find a name for it, but it is a very noticeable feature on the moon's surface. So, and then here we have the Sea of Crisis, which that's really noticeable on the moon, and it's a good place to be able to track the rotation of the moon. And now notice where the Apollo 11 landed in relation to that crater and to the Sea of Crisis. Now here's some video taken with my P900, and this is on July the 28th this year. 29% waxing crescent. Now, it's important to realize that in this part of the moon's phases, it is visible in the daytime most of the day, and it's trailing the sun. And it's not that far behind the sun. It trails the sun across the sky. And I've slowed this portion down as much as I can slow it down of this video. And this was shot sometime in the morning before noon. And so you can see the Sea of Crisis, which is that round spot in the top right corner. And you can see that crater that was in the map of the lunar surface from the NASA website. And so when you put all that into account with what we were looking at earlier, the Apollo 11 lunar lander would have been up and to the left of that crater. So this is what the moon looked like when they landed on it in our sky. So they're facing us. And these are some still images taken later that night. And there's that crater. So the Apollo 11 would have landed up and to the left of that. And you can see the Sea of Crisis over to the right. And this was taken at 8:25 p.m. And that's Central Time, so it would have been about 9:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Here's another image of it. It was about a minute later. It may have been about 30 seconds later. I don't know. But again, you can see that crater. And you can see the terminator line. And so, according to their theory, that they would be in darkness. And then here again, this is Buzz coming out of the lunar lander. And he's all lit up and everything's in color. And the moon's surface is important to look at in these pictures. It looks like dust. And it's very dusty. So here's Neil again. And coming down their YouTube video. Now this is the Johnson Space Center's Apollo 11 historical pictures, and I want to highlight a picture in this one, and it's this picture here. Now this is an interesting picture, and I believe that this picture is actually a picture of the lunar surface, but it's a picture of the lunar surface taken from Earth. Look at the lunar surface in this picture. Also look at the position of the Earth in this picture. The lunar surface has all these little dots that are lit up, and it looks very different from the dust-covered pictures that we've all seen and we know. And the Earth is right over the horizon. Now, remember on our map, when we saw it, they would have been facing the Earth almost dead center from the moon. So the Earth would be way high in the sky. They would have to look up to see the Earth. It wouldn't be right over the top of the horizon. This is why I believe that was a photo taken of the lunar surface from Earth. This was taken with my P900 also, and you can see the spots in the moon, how they're lit up. And the surface of the moon looks like that picture that we just saw. And I believe if you had a high-powered telescope or a real high-powered camera, that you could zoom in on the moon at night when it's a full moon across its northern edge and take a shot like that, and it would come out looking like that. You do a little cropping, maybe do a little colorization, and you could get it to look like that picture. And that's why I say I believe that picture is a real picture of the lunar surface. It's just been taken from the Earth. Now I've slowed this section of the video down as much as I could, and you can see all the little dots that are illuminated in the moon's surface. And the moon's surface does not look like a dust bowl. And it's got all these veiny looking things that connect the dots that are lit up. So if you go back and watch the video with the picture from NASA that I pointed out, I believe that's probably what they've done with that picture. And you can see when I zoom back out that it was still kind of daylight when I shot this. So, but you can see, if you get up by the edge, you see all the little spots that are lit up and all that. So I believe if you did this when the moon is in the fully night sky, that you could probably easily get it like that with a telescope. So that's my assessment of that picture. I don't think that the moon's surface is a dust bowl, and I don't believe that anyone's ever landed on it. I don't believe it's something that you can land on. And they would have been in pitch black. And I know there's people that are going to say, well, you know, there was 1% difference in illumination. I don't believe that would make that much of a difference. And the moon rotates and it rocks back and forth and all kinds of stuff. So it does a lot of weird stuff. This was shot on July the 6th of this year, and that's a 94% waxing gibbous. Here's that picture of the lunar surface again from NASA, so you can compare the two. Like I said, you could crop that and do a little colorization, and bam. So my point to all this is that looking at the moon phases, what moon phase it was in when they landed, what time they landed on it, where they were, all of that, I think they would have been in complete darkness, and you wouldn't have buzz all lit up, and there wouldn't even be any light. Of course, I'm going off of their theories because I believe the Earth's flat. I don't believe the moon is anything that can be landed on. So anyway, I hope you get something from this, and I hope you like it.